you know it's time. IAfootball is back, and we've got you covered with everything from the biggest hits to the biggest runs, from in-game highlights to post-game breakdowns.
We are here talking any and all high school football.
From day one all the way to the dome, we've got you covered at IAfootball.
Welcome in, everybody. Week 2 rankings are here on IA Sports YouTube. Happy to have you here. We'll get right to that, but quickly, tomorrow, I would love to do a highlight show. I don't know if it's going to be like a top 10 or just kind of go through some highlights, but if you have a clip, if you're a coach, if you're a player, and you have a good highlight to send my way, please do so. Our DMs are open on IAfootball or my personal if you follow me. We also have an email, contactiafootball@gmail.com. Again, contactiafootball@gmail.com. You can send me highlights through there. I'll probably start this show and record it tonight. So if you can get it to me today, that would be fantastic. I would love to get you featured, and I think that'd be a fun way to just get more content out there for you guys to see. So we will carry on, though. Today, our big news this afternoon, ultimate rankings are here. Again, that is each team ranked to its exact number in their class. So if you're not on this top 16, you can see where you are in our rankings on those ultimate. That's a great way to support IAfootball and what you do. You're getting that and your rankers picks every Thursday. I'm going to go back and see how our rankers did and post that in a free article on Rockfin. So we can see what they did and what they did right and what they did well. Talking about ultimate rankings, here are some big movers in each class. Glidden Ralston. I mean, some of these teams still aren't even ranked, but they still jumped. I mean, Glidden Ralston had a big one. I just realized I spelled their name wrong, so I'm sorry, Glidden Ralston. But they jump a bunch of spots to number 26. BGM, same thing, not quite ranked, but they're right there. MVAO. Inside the rankings now, they jump from number 27 to number 13. Our ranker liked what they saw there. Boyden Hull, another big jumper, but still outside the rankings. Carlisle looked good in a loss to a top-ranked Newton team. Still outside the rankings, but that's a good loss and a shootout they played over there in Newton. And then Prairie jumping inside the rankings. So there are some big movers. That's just kind of a glimpse as to what you'll see, I guess. Again, each team is ranked down to the exact number. I mean, 8-man has 68 teams, so you're going to see each team at their exact spot. So if that interests you, again, that's on rockfin.com/IAfootball. Let's see here. There you go. 5A rankings. Your new number 1, Southeast Polk. That's the big story here. Valley goes and beats Dowling. They move up. Big one this week, Hawkeyes, Northwest, and Valley. As if we don't know enough about those two teams. They're gonna clash again right here in week 2, and that's another monumental matchup for both those teams who are coming off huge week 1 wins. Kind of looking at the back end of this lineup, Iowa City West basically trades with Iowa City High. They jump into at number 10. You also have Prairie jumping in after a win. Indianola beat Norwalk. They jump in. Pleasant Valley beat Bettendorf on Saturday morning. Those two still hang out in here. Cedar Falls look pretty good in the loss to Liberty. They hang in there too. So 5A, nothing too crazy. The kind of top half still remains the same. And then the back end of this top 16 is all the teams that basically beat the ranked opponents that they had last week. So that's how 5A is going to look this week. I'll keep it here for one more second. But if you want to stay on here, you can pause it. Going on to Class 4A, number 1, Xavier looked really good in a win over North Scott. They blank them. Probably the biggest win in 4A, though, off the top of my head, just looking here, is North Polk over Lewis Central on the road. Again, North Polk preseason ranked pretty low just because we didn't know much about them. But I think now it's safe to say that we know that this Comet team is back and competing for a state title. So they jump up way up to number 6. Pella had a big win over Ballard. Looking at that, Waverly Shellrock looked really good over Bonneret Farrar. They jump up 1 spot. Lamar's, I thought, looked really good. But really nothing too crazy here in Class 4A. Sergeant Bluff Luton falls in a tough one to Heelan. They still hang out in this top 10, though. I think Heelan's a elite team in Class 3A. But yeah, we will move on to Class 3A. Go ahead and pause this if you'd want. I'm just going to run through these. We're going to get in and out here in 10 minutes so you guys can go on with your day. Looking at Class 3A, Really not much changed. MOC Floyd Valley, probably with one of the bigger wins. They go down and beat Central Lyon Georgia Little Rock in Class 2A, who I think is a really, really good team, and the rankings will show that. Wahlert Catholic also had a big win over Western Dubuque, but the story here in Class 3A, Des Moines Christian beats Van Meter. I know Van Meter is a class below, but if you've been following high school football, you know what Van Meter is in terms of their program. And Des Moines Christian goes and beats them in week 1. They are on the map. That's safe to say that we are aware of Des Moines Christian. They are there at number 12, and I believe they get Roland Story this week, if I'm correct off the top of my head. So another top team in a class below. So I know it's Class 2A, but still, you're beating ranked opponents. I don't really care what class it is. Class it is in. We are taking notice, and we are looking. Got to give a shout out to Bishop Hill, though I know I said it in the last group, but they looked really good over a win over Sergeant Bluff Luton, a team that we think is going to compete at a high level in Class 4A. So they hang out at number 2. Just really nowhere for them to go because Mount Vernon looked like the number 1 team in Class 3A last week. They beat Monticello. Also, Algona beating Spirit Lake. I think that's a really sneaky good win for those guys. Moving on to Class 2A, Roland Story with the big jump here. Pulling out my notes. They beat Pella Christian. They look really good, and honestly, Roland Story is benefiting from a lot of people in this top half losing. I mean, Van Meter loses, Cherokee Wash loses, Central Lyon Georgia Little Rock loses. All those teams lose to quality opponents, but you're still opening up the door for a team like Roland Story to take advantage and jump a few spots. So it'll be Roland Story and Des Moines Christian next week. That's number 2 in 2A. So Des Moines Christian has the chance to beat the number 2 team in 2A in back-to-back weeks. So that one's going to be a ton of fun. Woodward Granger, though, they beat Madrid in one of the more heated rivalries in the state of Iowa. They get benefited by jumping up a few spots. Madrid, I think, is a really good team in Class A. I was able to go to a practice. I was really impressed with them. Another team I want to shout out is PCM. Another team that was at the Dome last year, lost a ton, wasn't really sure what they were going to have here and what they were bringing back. So they started pretty low in the preseason rankings. And what do? They go out and beat a really good team in Class 1A in Sigourney Keota. I thought they looked really good. And I mean, we were obviously wrong about PCM. So we're going to see if they can keep that going and moving forward. OABCIG beats Ridgeview. Rafe Jensen, obviously from Ridgeview, goes to OABCIG to play quarterback, beats his old team. I think that makes them a contender. We weren't really aware that he was at OABCIG, so not knowing that he is there, I think makes them even more scary over there. Mid Prairie at number 8 too. They beat a ranked team in Washington in Class 3A. Really good win for them. We were high on them. Hudson Ehrenfeld, Caden Koss, and company. I think they're going to be a really tough team to beat going forward. Osage had a really big win. They weren't able on our games to watch or our Saturday scoreboard because the higher ranked teams took up all the spots. But Osage had a really big win as they took down Hampton Dumont Cal in a battle of ranked teams. So both those teams stay ranked, but Osage was the beneficiary of that. They take down a ranked opponent and they slowly start climbing in this rankings right here. And Clarenda beating 3A Creston, they'll jump into our rankings as well. They looked really good there. So there's your 2A rankings for the week. We'll move on to Class 1A, and looks like the top 7 remain unchanged. And Underwood with a huge win, but there's just nowhere to really move them up to because everyone in this top 7 looked really good. Trainer also had a really good win over Class A's Riverside Oakland. I mean, looking down the line, this Class 1A field looks like it's going to be a ton of fun going forward. MVAO COU, obviously the biggest jumper. We talked about that beforehand. Our ranker must have liked what he saw there because they shot up our polls. Ogden, I think, is going to be a fun team. They beat Perry. Cascade loses to Bellevue, but I still think that's a really good team there as well. So this top half of the field is going to be really fun. Regina goes on the road and beats a tough Wilton team. I mean, each team in this top 16 in Class 1A, this is going to be one of the more interesting fields to follow going forward here. Move on to Class A, though, and in Class A, nothing too crazy. Woodbury Central takes down their rival Lawton Bronson. I think South Winneshiek is a team that's on the rise. This team was a team around 500 last year, but they brought back everybody. They're ready to go. I obviously saw ACGC on a Thursday, beat up on Panorama. You know what ACGC does, and they do it well. They're always a really tough team to stop. I just realized the logos are wrong. MMCRU is number 3. Madrid is number 4. We just forgot to change the logos around, so it's a little bit of a brain teaser there, but that is correct. I think St. Ansgar looked really well. They beat a pretty solid team. I got my rankings pulled up right here. St. Ansgar beat South Hamilton in Class 1A. That's a really good team, and they beat them up pretty good. So I think that's a really good win for St. Ansgar right there. But yeah, nothing too wild in Class A this week. This is how it's going to look going forward into week 2. And your 8-man rankings. We had a lot of action in 8-man last week. I can't remember the last time we had that many ranked versus ranked games going down in one class. But starting from the back, I mean, Audubon, they go and just absolutely dismantle the reigning state champs. I know Remsen St. Mary's lost a huge senior class, but nevertheless, that's a very big win, and they get rewarded jumping up to number 11. But in front of them, there's a lot of very, very quality teams here. Woodbine just dismantles a dome returning team in Lenox. They looked really good. They get rewarded jumping up high. Iowa Valley beats Don Bosco, and somehow that game kind of got swept under just because of how many quality games there were last week. That was probably the biggest 8-man game we might see all year in Class 8-man. Gladbrook Rhinebeck looks really good. They blank Janesville. Bishop Garrigan, I thought, had a tougher test than people might have thought with Kingsley Pearson coming down from Class A, but they looked very, very good, and then they beat them 60-20, whatever it was, and they're going to hang out at number 1 again. So Class 8-man looks entertaining yet again. Excited to follow it. That is all of the rankings I have for you. Again, today, Ultimate Rankings going down on Rockfin. If you did not make the list, you will be on this list. Again, it's a great way to support IAfootball and what we do, and this will be updated every Monday. You can see that. You can see this on Rockfin this afternoon. We'll post when it's out. But appreciate y'all for tuning in. I hope you'll have a happy Labor Day, and I'm sure I'll see some of you on a field this Friday night.